Today's Shabbos is a Gemara above on the Aleph, the bottom of the page. Pshita, above Aleph. Pshita, at the very bottom of the page. Pshita, that's sorry. Chaim begerishin. Nosan lagita. He gave her a get. He said to her, Hariat Mishalachas. You're sent away. Hariat Mugaresh, divorced. But he didn't say mimeni from me. He just said you're Hariat Muteres Chaladam Harei Mugareshes. Why? Because it's obvious what you mean. And we already had the Gemara before. Either he said the word li, if you hold that Yadayim Shem Mechiches La Havin Yadayim, that means incomplete sentences are not valid. And just talking about you said the word me many from me, and if we otherwise we hold Yadayim Shem Mechiches Havin, even if he did not say me many, it's good enough. So it's a machlekes Rishonim. Said the Gemara, Pshita, that's for sure. Nosal Gita gave her a get. She said to his wife, Hare Ad Bas Chayden, use expression, you are of bas chayden, which is an expression we use for a slave, not for a wife. Lo maklum. It's not an expression because she was a bas chayden even when she's married to you. Nothing changed. Amallah l'shivchas. If you turn around to his maid and he said you also have to give them a bill of divorce, but the expression you use as if she's your wife. Hariat muteres l'chaladam lo amar leklum. It's not because you own her and you have to set her free, and it's not a question of marriage. Just said is you have to set her free completely. Whatever he says to his wife, you are now completely in master of your own destiny. Mao, you now completely are your own. Me, Amninan, do we say he meant to say no longer your earnings will go to me and I have to provide for you, you can keep it. Or you're totally free, and this is the expression of divorce. What should be the contents of a document that you're setting a maid free? Either you say you're ben chayden or you say you're now completely independent, you're on your own. Now, when it comes to Eved Kanani, the Koner Gufa, you actually own the Eved himself. Is ki amalei, and use expression now you're totally independent. Is the Gamri Kamale means completely. Isha the you don't own her at all. Surely, if you say that you're independent, like Koshke, if you say that you're independent, then you completely sever all your ties, because your ties with your wife are much weaker than the ties that you have with the maid. What happened? You tell your slave, instead of using the expression that you are free, you say, I don't have anything more to do with you. What kind of expression is that? That we're no longer master and slave. You no longer have to work for me, but you're still my slave. And therefore, he's not a full-fledged Yid yet. He can't marry a Yiddish woman and so on. Touch my comment here. If a person sells an Eved to a Goy, which you're not allowed to because an Eved is very Jewish, and in a Goy's house, he won't be able to keep Shabbos, he won't be able to keep all the mitzvahs. He has all the mitzvahs just like a woman, until he's set free. You have an obligation to go and redeem him, set him free. And the tzaddik get shichem erabedishin, and he still has to also give him the original master. When you sold it to the guy, you couldn't sell the goof, because a guy cannot buy the goof of an Eved. So the goof of the Eved is still retained by the original owner, the Yid, and therefore he still has to set him free and give him a document to completely sever any ties. Once he has to give a document, cost of all of oina. When he sold him to the guy, he didn't write this kind of a star known as an oina. Cost of all of oina, if he wrote this particular document, that is tantamount to a bill of divorce for this Eved, totally free. Hey, what exactly is this document? Is the cost of he writes, if you flee from this guy, I have no more connection with you, which means as if I set you free. You don't need a bill of divorce anymore. So that answers your question. If somebody goes to a woman and says, you owe me $100, keep the $100 you owe me, and that money I want, you should be engaged to me. It's not valid Kiddushin. Why not? Because what are you giving her now? Nothing. The money you gave her back then had nothing to do with Kiddushin. Now you're saying the money, and we know that a milva lahitzonit. We know we learn beginning about Metzil, and later that when you lend somebody money, the moment it comes to their possession, they have complete control of that money. They give it whatever they want. So therefore, when a month later you come to her and you say, the money that I gave you, I lent you a month ago, use it towards Kiddushin, I'm not giving her anything right now, so she's not Mekudesh. But if you say Hanoas milva mikadeshes, the Hanoah of the loan, you're Mekudesh. The loan that also took place a month ago. What are you giving her now?
In other words, you don't have to pay back?
No, I didn't say that. 1 second. But the asal, the Gemara will explain what exactly it means. At the moment, it seems it's saying the pleasure that I gave you alone, that pleasures were equal to a pruta, and therefore you can have it. Also, for that I want you to be Mekudesh. Anyway, we'll soon see what it means. But also last came, but still they don't want you to go ahead through such a method. It's not ribus mahatayra. It's not even a bakrimis midrabanan, but it looks, ostensibly it looks like ribus. Hi hanos mil. What exactly does hanos mean? If we're talking about a case here, we say, look, I lent you $4 and you owe me $5. In other words, he charged the ribas, and now he says, that extra dollar, the ribas that they pay me, keep that money and be mekudesh, and keep the money. And you're now engaged to me. So we have two problems with that pshat. The omla ababa chamisha. First of all, haribas ba'alisi. That's not haramas ribas. That's mamish outright ribas. Lent them $4 and pay back $5. That's ribas. Number one. Mahatayda. But oid haina milva. I'm not giving her that ribas right now. I'm saying the ribas, that $5 you owe me back from a month ago, keep one of the dollars. So what are you giving her right now? Says Gemara, no, we need the arvach lo zimna. What's arvach lo zimna? So Rashi learns the arvach lo zimna means that you said to her, you owe me the due date is today. I'm going to give you an extra month. So I'm giving you something now. And the hana, what hana? The hana that you would have had to pay someone a pruta to convince me to give you an extension on the loan. And you just saved yourself a pruta. So as if I'm giving you now a pruta, I'm giving you something now of value. And therefore, it is and that you're mekudesh to me. Now, why isn't that interest? Why is that Rambam's interest? Because interest is ma'atayr is only if you fix an amount. If I say I'm giving you $100, I'm lending you $100, pay me back $120. So that is ma'atayr ribis. Here, there's no fixed amount, and it didn't. And second of all, it didn't happen at the time of the loan. So therefore, it's not ma'atayr ribis, nor is it midrabban, because we didn't talk about this at the time of the loan. It's now during extension, and therefore, but it looks like ribis. So that's what this is. That's how we learn here. Rabbein the Tam learns is talking about that. No, she owed money. He doesn't like Rashi at all. He said because he's not giving her anything right now. She owed money to somebody else, and with the due date came, this man went over to that somebody else, actually gave him money, and he said, "I'm giving you a pruta. Do me a favor, extend her loan." So because money actually changed hands, and he says to her, I did this thing over here. So that hana, and it's worth a pruta because a pruta changed hands. You're mekudesh to me. Why is it haramas ribis? The din is that if somebody if Reuben owes money to Shimon, somebody else could go to Shimon, or better yet, if Reuben's trying to get a loan from Shimon, somebody else can go to Shimon and say, "Here, I'm giving you $100. Do me a favor, lend 1,000 to Reuben." And that's not called ribis. Why not? Because the ribis is only between the leiva and the malva. And here it's a third party altogether. So over here, in this case, why is it a problem? Only because over there, if afterwards that person, the third party who gave $100, then goes back to the borrower and says, "Look, I gave him $100, give me 50," then that looks like that ribis. It looks like ribis. And here also, because he's getting the wife, he said, "Look, I gave the money to that third party here, and now you're mekudesh to me." It looks like ribis, but no money changed hands here, so therefore it only looks like ribis. The Rambam has done a whole other pshat. The Rambam says this happened at the time of the loan. At the time of the loan, because Rambam says you have to give something. Rashi and Rabbein Tam's case, no money changed hands. So what are they mekudesh? It's not a tangible hana. So the Rambam says, at the time of the loan, he said to her, a normal loan is 30 days. I'm going to give you an extension now of another 30 days, and here is the loan. And for the hana of the extension, give me the thing. Now, the obvious question is, why doesn't Abaye say a simple thing? What happens if he turns around to her and says, you owe me $100? I'm meichel you right now. Then obviously it doesn't work. But he said the hana that I'm meichel you right now. You imagine she had to go find $100 to pay me back. That hana, she would have to pay somebody money to, find me, somebody will lend me. Now that hana, that I am meichel you, that hana should be good enough.
You're saying that obviously wouldn't work. That obviously would work.
If I focus on the hana, it doesn't work if I focus on the loan. I'm not giving you. But if I'm focusing on the hana, why doesn't the Gemara say that? Is because naturally she won't focus on the hana. When you meichel her the $100 in her mind, I don't have to pay the $100. It's not so much the hana She's thinking that she's engaged to this guy because what a wonderful guy. He just made me the $100 I owe him. And that's why it's not ideal. Next Gemara. Amar Rabbi says, Rabbi, hey, Lichmana, a man says to him, well, here's $100. I'm on the condition you give it back to me in a week. The mecher, in the following cases, if he wants to buy a property, say, give me $100, can you kesef, but I want it back in a week. Like Connor. So you didn't really give him anything. He has to give it back to you in a week. The Isha, by a woman, she's not engaged. The Pidyon Ben, if you give the coin a Pidyon Ben, the five sloyim, he said, condition give it back to me, ain't the padi. The Truma, you give Truma to a coin, and said, I'm giving you Truma if I want it back, and then I can turn around and sell it with the money, do whatever I want. Yotzi Yidei Sinner, your Yaitze, that's the only one that your Yaitze will come back in a minute. But also, lasses you cannot do that if nation needed a coin on Messiah, basically. Looks like the coin is trying to curry your favor to get more of your Truma. Because what's happening here? Why would the coin agree? I'm giving you Truma, so you're right back to me. Obviously, he's agreeing, so he hopes that in the future, I'll give you all my Trumas. So he's helping out in order to get the Truma should be directed in his direction. I'll do that. My Kasavara, I'm going to say, I don't understand Rava. So Truma works and nothing else. Doesn't make sense. You give a conditional gift that you have to return to me. It's a valid matana. Then all these cases should work. It's not a valid matana. I feel Truma like. Then why Truma shouldn't be effective? Shouldn't work anyway. Number one. But he's the one he's the father of this halacha. The Amar Rava heilich esek zeh menashe tachzuri. If I'm giving you this essay condition, you give it back to me. Not like if he took the essay, that's it, return to me yotze. Clearly, a matana is considered a matana. Even though we didn't get in that all these conditions of a tonight that you have to double the tonight and so on and so forth, where it's so obvious, I need the essay back because I want to be yotze essay as well. It has to be lechem. Then so you don't have to spell it out because it's very, very obvious. The whole concept of Hafza is a very difficult concept to understand. There's two ways generally of understanding the Hafza. One way of understanding Machlek is the Rosh, another is in Gemara Sukkah. One way of understanding is that I gave you a gift, let's say to be Yetzer Esrig. As soon as you Yetzer Esrig, the Esrig automatically goes right back to my Rishus. So the gift, it was only yours at the time of thing, and automatically comes back mine. The Tanai is part of what I gave you. The other way of learning is, no, the Matana is permanently yours. But you have a chiyuv to give it back to me. And I have to make a new kinyan when I get it back. If you do not meet the condition, then retrospectively it was never yours in the first place. Why would you learn this way? Because the problem is, the Gemara in the Durham says that a matana, what happened there was a son and a father didn't get on, and the son made a neder that his father should never have any hana from him. Then the son was making a wedding for his son, and he wanted the Zayda to come to the wedding. So he went over to a friend and said, do me a favor, I'm going to give you all the food of the wedding. It's your food. So when my father comes to this wedding, he's not eating for me, he's eating your food. And the Gemara says a matnas based chayd, and the Gemara says it's not a good matana. Why? Because since that person who now owns all the food of the wedding does not have the right to make it hegdish, and the definition of a matana is that it's completely yours. And how do we manifest that you can give it to wherever you want, even to donate it to hegdish? So how can you ever do a matana maslahazir? If I gave you the essay, can you make the essay hegdish? No. So what kind of matana is that? So as a result of that, that's a big question. So there's two ways of answering. One way of answering is the Rosh. The Rosh says that it must be that when you give a matana, it's lo'il and void. So technically, you could make it hegdish. The only reason, and you can make it hegdish for the 10 minutes you have it. And then you have to give it back to me. So you have to, but at that time, during those 10 minutes, it's completely yours. That's how the Rosh learns. And there's other proof is it says you shouldn't give a lumen esek to your child because he can take it, but he can't give it back to you. Make it a matana maslahazir. And after the child is the Yaitze, automatically it comes mine. The child's not giving it back to me. I put into it the chatchila, this tonight that makes it mine. So that when I give him a matana, it's forever. But that person has an obligation to give it back to me, and the child can't give it back to me. The others say no. The others answer regarding hegdish. They say that when do we say that the criteria for matana to be hegdish is when it's quite obvious I don't really mean it. In the case where you gave the entire wedding to that third party, you wanted to give the wedding to the third party, not at all. You just did it as a trick, a ruse of how that your father should be able to join the wedding. So a ruse already looks wrong. So then we say, but if the person can make it hegdish, okay. In the case of an esig, you actually do want the person to own the esig, but shas ma'isa while he's doing the mitzvah. So then it doesn't matter whether he can make it hegdish or not. Okay. So the most question is, how does it work? So how come here it doesn't? Gemara amends it. Gemara says as follows. Elo Rashi, Bikula Koni. All of these cases, Matan Lahach is affected. Lebar mi Isha, except the case of Kiddushin. Why? Lefisha Ein Isha Nikl B'Chalipin. We had the Gimel Amar Aleph that a woman cannot be acquired through Chalipin, even though that's the most common kinyan, as it says in Rus v'Zois Lefonim B'Yisrael. You cannot be kaina. Exactly like you. Now, there's two ways of understanding Pshat. That one way is Matan Lahach is exactly that Chalipin. Is Chalipin because Chalipin you give to the person in exchange of this handkerchief, then the guy gives it back to you. So it's exactly matanas lahachzah, and therefore a woman cannot be kainik, just like Chalipin, because it's like an eye for her. She's not. What are you giving me? I don't have anything. Or not the pshat is Chalipin. Chalipin, technically, the person, if you gave the handkerchief to the other person, technically they can keep it. So therefore, it's not like matanas lahachzah. The minig is you give it back, but you don't technically keep it according to some. And therefore, what we're saying here is, it looks like Chalipin, so we're geyser. Not that it is Chalipin. Chalipin is very different. Okay, we'll stop it here. Continue next time with Hashem.